The doors to the Viridian Tea House are open once more. Hello everyone, I've got a ton of really cool stuff to talk about with you today. But before I begin, I do have a couple of news announcements. So my Etsy store is still down. I'm still working on inventory. Sorry about that. These things do take time. But I promise you that if you follow me on social media or if you follow my Etsy store, you will know when the store is back open for business. But until then, sorry, you just got to wait a little bit longer. And speaking of the tea business, I am currently in talks with a new store to hopefully sell my teas. Details to come as soon as I receive them, but I'm really excited about this one. And I won't even say the name of the store until it's a done deal. So just be on the lookout in my social media for talking about a new store to carry Viridian Tea Company tea blends. Let's see what else. Oh, I have no events coming up for this month. The next events that I do have are both in April. One is with the Stanley Marketplace. Yay, Stanley Marketplace. It's Earth Made at Aurora again. And this is the event to go to if you live in the Denver area and you love plants. I have never seen some of these plants before. The last time I did this event, it really was cool. It was all outdoors. But this time next month, it's going to be all indoors. So stay tuned for that. And then literally the next day, I'm doing the next Magic Makers Market. So for those of you who have attended the event and seen me there, I will be there next month. So stay tuned for details and I'll give you the dates as the days get closer. Let's see, what else? I think that's it for now. So without further ado, let's get to the books and the tea and just welcome to Viridian Tea House once again. And before I forget, for the new subscribers to my YouTube channel, welcome. Thank you so much for subscribing to this channel. I don't know if you've seen some of the earlier videos, but yeah, I don't edit. I am goofy and silly, but I'm driven by my passion for all things books and all things tea. So if you're into that, either one or neither, but you figure, I'll give it a shot, welcome to Viridian Tea House. I'm so glad that you're here today. Right, so let's get to the books. So the first book I've actually read before, many years ago. As I've said in earlier videos, I am rereading a lot of books that I've read years ago, but I just don't remember. And this particular one, I told the author, he's a friend of mine, but I told him, I said, I can't read your books at night. You creep me out. You really do creep me out. But he is such a master of the crime, murder, mystery novel. His trilogy is just amazing. Now, having said that, I've only read the first two books. I have not read the third book yet, but that's going to be changing this year. So who am I talking about? This is the Bourbon Street Ripper, Sins of the Father, Book 1 by Leo King. And actually, I talked with Christian, that's his real name, and he said that he's not going to be writing under the name Leo King anymore. So if you happen to grab these books with the name Leo King, you're grabbing kind of a rare thing. But this is a fantastically macabre and gross and suspenseful story that will keep you glued to the pages. You will be flying through this book trying to figure out who is the Bourbon Street Ripper. So let me read the back of it for you. In 1972, the city of Nolens was terrorized by a serial killer known as the Bourbon Street Ripper. Although he was captured, convicted, and executed, his deeds left a scar on the city. Now, 20 years later, the murders have started again, and the secrets of the past left buried for so long must be uncovered in order to stop this new horror. From author Leo King comes this gritty tale of murder, mystery, and suspense set in the Big Easy. And one of the blurbs back here is a riveting tale of suspense that is bound to keep the reader guessing until the final chapters. I will tell you, the Bourbon Street Ripper is a cliffhanger. You do not find out who the new Bourbon Street Ripper is until the second book. And let me tell you something, the first time I read the second book, I think I yelled because I think I had gotten it right, or I think it was because I had gotten it right. And when I saw it, I was like, oh my God, I got it. Wow, he is really messed up. But yes, it is not, this trilogy is not for the faint of heart. And but if you like a good, gritty, edgy, keep you just dangling with suspense with every page, you can't go wrong with the Bourbon Street Ripper, Sins of the Father, Book 1 by Leo King. This is published through Gray Gecko Press. They are a small press. I looked at their website. They do have a number of books, so I'm going to put their website on this video once it's done uploading. So if you like this book and his other books, then you might find something else in the Gray Gecko Press realm. But for the Bourbon Street Ripper, Sins of the Father, Book 1, it receives Viridian Tea House's 5 pots of gruesome, bloody tea. You know, the characters are, you feel as though you know them. You don't think that you're reading a book. You feel like you were suddenly transported to New Orleans, and you are right there with the 2 detectives and the 2 non-detectives, Sam and Richie. And you're trying to just figure out who is this copycat killer. But like I said, you find out in book 2, and when you do, let me know if you're surprised or not. Let me know if you figure it out. If you do, or if you don't, send me an email to tgoddess, T-E-A, goddess74 at gmail.com. I'm really curious if anybody reads these books, if they figured out who the copycat killer is. But once again, Bourbon Street Ripper, Sins of the Father, Book 1 by Leo King. And Christian, if you're watching this, I hope you are. Thank you so much again for writing these books. Please keep writing. Seriously, just keep writing so I can read your books only during the daytime. But thank you again. Thank you. So the next book I want to talk about, I discovered quite by chance. I want to give another shout out to Arapahoe Libraries. You guys are amazing. Yay! Love my local Sheridan Library. You guys are awesome. And I realized that I think it's on Tuesdays or Wednesdays where the new releases come out. So it was one particular time, I think I was looking at a website and I heard about this book that I'm about to talk about now. And I thought, yeah, that really sounds interesting. And I went to my branch and there it was. And I had actually put a hold on it, but I didn't realize that my branch had it. So I swiped it up, checked it out. This is one of those books where I don't mind losing days. I don't mind not working on my own novel or the tea company or anything involving my work. Because if you find a book like that and that you just don't want to put it down, you just want to finish reading it until the very end, that's a damn good book. And I am talking about Margot, get rid of the glare, man, this glare, by Wendell Steavenson. This book, it almost reads like a Wes Anderson film. Like, I freely admit I'm a Wes Anderson fan. Yes, my all-time favorite would be Grand Budapest Hotel. Love that one. Second would be The French Dispatch. But this book is a slice of life. And I did not want to put it down. I love the story. I love the characters. I love the main character, Margot. And let me just read the dust jacket for you. Let's see. A moving portrait of a young woman's struggle to break free from her upper-class upbringing amid the whirlwind years of the sexual revolution. It's the mid-1950s, and Margot Thornton is growing up between a Park Avenue apartment in New York City and her family's sumptuous Oyster Bay estate as the presumed heir to her late grandfather's steel fortune. Stuck in the moors and bores of WASP society with its cocktail parties and white glove galas, Margot is constantly rubbing against the strictures of her domineering mother, who never misses an opportunity to lecture her on the importance of marrying well. Side note that the character of her mother was an absolute terror and a nightmare. Meanwhile, Margot dreams of microscopes and beetles and books. As she comes of age in the 1960s, a time of war and assassinations and riots, Margot's path diverges and she finds herself in the expansive world of Radcliffe College, navigating a new age of sexual liberation, scientific discovery, acid trips, and rock and roll. When her and her friends talk about Elvis Presley, it made me laugh. The old rule book has been burned. There are no more limits. But now that she can choose, what does Margot really want? Hailed for her quote-unquote intelligent and heartfelt fiction, Wendell Steavenson writes with grace, precision, and great psychological perception. With Margot, she has crafted an intimate portrayal of the quiet torment of young women of the era, a comically caustic mother-daughter story, and a memorable evocation of one woman's passion for the wonder of science. You know, this book does take place in the 1950s and 1960s, and as I read it, I read like a person who's in 2023. Just the different comments made about, why do you want to go into science? You're supposed to be focusing on who you're going to marry, and I hope you marry well. And how her mother never supported her. Her mother was so focused on trying to get her to look perfect and act perfect. But one thing that came to mind as I read this book, I think I devoured it in like 2 days, that it's like this rug or this beautiful tapestry, and you admire it and it's beautiful and it's wonderful and it's like, oh, ooh, ah. But then there's this one single thread. It's a frayed thread, and your eyes keep going to it. And so you decide to pull it, and you pull it, and the whole tapestry falls apart. And that's what I thought of with Margot as they left the 1950s with the prim and proper outside attitudes, while on the inside dealing with alcoholism and trying to be perfect to the point that it's painful. And then going into the 60s where it's, women's lib and Vietnam War and taking drugs and listening to rock and roll and being rebellious. And Margot, this quiet young girl who her mom and father never really got to know her. Her father was kind of shell-shocked from World War II, I'm assuming. And the mother, I've already talked about her. But Margot was in her own little world. And she finds that sense of acceptance when she goes to Radcliffe College. But she's still in her own little world. She really is. But there's some incredible highs, some incredible lows, some lessons to be learned. And like I said, that tapestry that unravels itself, that really showed with the fall of some of these upper class families, and specifically, more importantly, Margot's mother. And the downward spiral that you see her mother engage in it's a little bit pathetic. It really is. But this was an incredible, incredible read. And like I said, it just reminded me of a Wes Anderson film, and kind of like Catcher in the Rye. Just that feeling of like a coming of age and not really knowing what's your place on this planet, and then trying to figure out what it is. So anyway, Margot, I could go on and on, as you could see, but Margot by Wendell Steavenson, getting rid of the glare. I always have the glare. This gets Viridian Tea Houses, 5 pots of tea. This was, like I said, an excellent, excellent read. It's just a straight up literary fiction novel. And you know how sometimes you're in the mood for like, oh, I'm in the mood for a mystery, or I'm in the mood for sci-fi fantasy, or I'm in the mood for romance. I was in the mood for a literary coming of age story, and this did not disappoint at all. This was a phenomenal read. And so much so, I think Wendell Stevenson's written another book called Paris Metro, I think. And I'm going to be looking for that and or buying it. And even though I checked this out from my library, I actually want my own copy. This was really that good of a read. So once again, Margot by Wendell Stevenson, Five Pots of Tea from Viridian Tea House. Just an excellent, excellent read. Thank you. So on to the tea portion. So I discovered these people last week, and I have to tell you something. I have been in the Denver metro area now for over 2 years, about 2.5, and I'm still discovering little places of interest in this city. I mean, there is a lot to do in the Mile High City. And this one particular tea house, I've driven by it, walked by it, and just didn't think about going in. I was like, oh, I don't feel like it, or oh, I don't want to, or whatever. So last week, I was waiting for the printed page to open up on South Broadway. And I got there kind of early. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and go to the tea house. So glad I did. So this is Capital Tea. They are on 1450 South Broadway in Denver, SoBo. And it is the cutest little establishment. Like, you walk in and it's like this cute little intimate setting, all these little tables and chairs and whatnot, and all this greenery. I love the greenery. It was awesome. And they have like all these different teapots, and they also have high tea. So if you live in the Denver area or nearby and you want a high tea experience, they do offer that. I did talk with I don't know if she was the owner or the manager, but she said that if you do want to do high tea, you have to reserve your spot like 24 hours in advance. But I looked at the wall of tea and it was very impressive. I saw a lot of different blends and different kinds of tea that I will be trying in the near future, excuse me. And I will be reviewing, hopefully, all of them on future Viridian Tea House videos. But this particular one, it's a watermelon oolong. And from what she told me, it's oolong tea with dried watermelon rinds and papaya. I think it's papaya leaves, but there's papaya in there. And I had a little sampler cup, and I'll never forget, I was sitting there and I was just sipping on it, just watching the outside world. And it's a seasonal. And it made me think spring is right around the corner. The watermelon, I'm sure, I mean, if you don't like watermelon, probably be like, ugh, I don't think I could drink watermelon tea, but it works. It is absolutely delicious. This tea is perfect for spring. In fact, happy vernal equinox, everyone. And it was light enough and oolongy, I just made a word, oolongy enough that you could just drink cup after cup after cup of this. But yeah, this is, like I said, watermelon oolong from Capital Tea, and I've already tried this, but this is my second time trying it. So this is watermelon oolong, and I did let it steep for, it says 2 to 3 minutes. I let mine steep for about 3 minutes and 33 seconds because I'm eccentric like that. But watermelon oolong from Capital Tea, SoBo, Denver. That's it. That watermelon rind is incredibly, I love watermelon. Watermelon is very refreshing for me, and I love it when it's cold, not room temperature. And when you take that first bite and the sugar just hits you and it's just refreshing and you're just like, oh my God, I'm putting it all over me, or some people do that. But this is a delicate, delicious, refreshing blend. It truly, truly is. And this is something that I could probably make iced as well. but I really do kind of prefer it to be hot. It's quite good when it's hot, but just the flavors, just they come into your mouth and they welcome your taste buds, and it's just not overpowering. This is just a perfect one of a perfect tea to celebrate spring. It really, really is. Like, I'm getting tongue tied because I'm just like, this is just an amazing tea. They do have a website, and I will put it on the video once I've uploaded it, so you too can order some of the watermelon oolong. I know she said that it was a seasonal, so I don't know if they're going to have it for, like, you know, forever and ever or whatever, but if you are interested in trying this tea, I would highly recommend ordering it just to be on the safe side. So, but yeah, once again, this is watermelon oolong from Capital Tea. And just, oh, every time I smell it, I get that watermelon tropical feeling to it. That's just so good. That really is just refreshing and delicious. It truly, truly is. And this is a great way to do the final part of our video, the meditation. For those of you who are new, welcome as always. This is my tea and water meditation. We're just going to focus on breathing. And if you can, make sure that you have a cup of your favorite tea or a glass of water nearby, because once we're done with the breathing exercises, we're just going to have a nice cup of tea to kind of end it all, or water. Find yourself in a comfortable position, either seated like me, standing up, or laying down. We're going to take 2 deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth, and then close our eyes, or you can softly focus on an object in front of you. We're going to breathe for a number of counts, and then I'm going to end it with another deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth, and then we end with our cup of tea or your glass of water. So if you're ready and you have your liquid refreshment, let's begin. And now, as we end this meditation, take 1 deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Open your eyes, or allow your eyes to focus once more. And now have your cup of tea or your water. That's an excellent, excellent oolong. Well, that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for watching this video and all my previous videos, and hopefully all my future videos. Thank you. And I also want to give a big shout out again to Wendell Steavenson again for Margot, and also Leo King for the Bourbon Street Ripper, Sins of the Father, Book 1. And also to the really cool and hip folks at Capital T for their watermelon oolong. So, like I said, that's all I've got for now. But as always, take care of yourself and each other. Raise your teacup high. And always remember, as I swear, I never get this right. Always remember, to drink tea is to enjoy life. Thank you so much, each and every one of you. Once again, happy spring equinox. Get out there and enjoy the springtime. I'll see you soon. Bye for now.